Hey, all you sweet listeners. You just tuned in to the NetSuite Podcast. I'm your host, Kendall Fisher, and this is a super cool episode for me because our very first episode actually touched on this exact topic, the acquisition of NetSuite by Oracle. It happened in July 2016, so this month marks the 5-year anniversary. But in episode numero uno, I chatted with our founder, Evan Goldberg, about the acquisition, why it was important for NetSuite and our customers, and his hopes for future growth with a partner like Oracle. And today, we're looking back on that growth with our Vice President of Field Engagement and Marketing, Ranga Bodla. He'll explain how the acquisition enabled greater global growth for NetSuite and our customers and allowed us to invest in product development more than ever before. Ranga will discuss the benefits of Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, or OCI, how we're looking to grow alongside Oracle in the future, and together, the many ways in which we'll continue to drive sweetness for our customers. Stay tuned, that's coming up next.
You're listening to the NetSuite Podcast, where we discuss what's happening within NetSuite, why we're doing it, and where we're heading in the future. We'll dive into the details about the software and the people at NetSuite who are behind all the moving parts. We'll also feature customer growth stories, discussing the ups and downs of running a company and how one integrated system can help your business continue to scale.
Hi, Ranga. Welcome back to the NetSuite Podcast.
Thank you so much, Kendall. Glad to be back and chatting with you about this important topic.
I know. I let our listeners know that this July 2021 marks the 5-year anniversary of the acquisition of NetSuite by Oracle. An exciting topic. I'm excited to kind of dive in and see how far we've come in the past 5 years.
It's crazy to me, Kendall, because I've been at NetSuite. So I've been at NetSuite now for 10 years. So this, for me personally, it represents essentially half of my NetSuite career, which was spent at NetSuite as an independent company. The other half of my NetSuite career spent as part of Oracle. So it's it's an important milestone, and I've been excited by what we've been able to accomplish. In the last 5 years, it's been amazing. So happy to have the conversation and talk a little bit more about what's been going on, and what I see is really the future for us, moving forward as part of Oracle.
For sure. I mean, that means you're the perfect person to talk to about this, since you were here, 5 years before and now 5 years after. So I say we dive right in. Can you remind us of the history between Oracle and NetSuite? Because I think that's a really important factor to discuss in the acquisition.
Sure, happy to. So, one of the big things, so Evan Goldberg, he founded NetSuite, in 1998, and Evan actually started his career at Oracle back in the 80s. He left, he started Oracle in the 80s. Sometime in the 90s, he left to found his own startup, and he often describes how that ended up failing. He had his classic Silicon Valley mistake. And, he started working on his second startup. And, it's during that time that he had this, it's now talked about, the famous 5-minute phone call. He had a 5-minute phone call with Larry Ellison. And in that 5-minute phone call, Larry really guided him to focus on finance, that was an area of the business that was needed, that was underserved. And him and Larry co-founded NetSuite in 1998, really as the first cloud company. And,
Wow.
When you look at what NetSuite does, what and the reason that he was guided towards that is finance, and particularly for the Fortune 5 million. And that's a term that, that Evan has often used, and, some of the previous executives at NetSuite have often talked about that notion of the Fortune 5 million. NetSuite really services that underserved segment of the market. And that is, how do we make sure that, that small and medium-sized businesses have the same tools that larger organizations use and can operate with.
So this idea, like you said, there's that famous 5-minute phone call, but NetSuite, again, was founded independently, not under the Oracle umbrella. And then really, I guess, 15 years into NetSuite's kind of life, if you will, that's when the Oracle acquisition happens. So, we were founded in 98, and then in 2016 is when the Oracle acquisition is announced. Why then? Like, why was it that as such an important move for NetSuite, not just as a company, but also for our customer base that had grown so significantly over those years ahead of the acquisition?
NetSuite has had accelerating growth, ever since its founding, right? It continued to be successful in the market, continued to have great success in terms of building its customer base. And, in 2016, I think it was a recognition of the success that we've had as a company and being able to service really the segment of the market that we go after. That's a segment of the market, that small and medium sized business side of the finance side. It's not really was never really a focus for Oracle. Gave Oracle an option to really expand into that part of the market. But if you really look at it from the NetSuite angle, the reason this was really important for NetSuite, there's a lot of benefits of being a public company. You do obviously get certain flexibilities in being a public company, but you get a lot of benefits of having a larger corporate parent, in this case, Oracle. And for us, what it allowed us to do is it allowed us to be able to get investment into the organization in a lot of different areas. And I'll go into that. But, it allowed NetSuite to be invested in and serve the market, but not have the investors making short-term decisions. We could really make more longer-term decisions by being part of Oracle. And so, it's allowed us huge amounts of opportunity in terms of development, in terms of distribution. And I mean the distribution of our product in terms of the capacity that we've been able to put in place. It's been able to, it's enabled global growth. There's a huge number of different things that have happened that have really been exciting. And I mean, our growth as part of Oracle has really accelerated. It's not, there were a lot of doomsayers. There were a lot of people who are like, oh, this is going to kill NetSuite. This is not going to, and I
remember that.
And honestly, what it's happened, in fact, is our growth has accelerated as being part of Oracle. It's been really fun to watch. It's been really fun to be part of and to be part of the success. But, you hear it in every earnings call, Safra and Mark and Larry, they all talked about NetSuite and the success that we've had. And the reason is, and you hear it in the earnings calls, you hear the conversations about NetSuite because it's an important part of Oracle's apps strategy. And so anyways, that's really for me, I think pretty exciting. And I've been really happy to be part of it.
So you mentioned this and I want to dive into it. You talked about our global growth and how we've been able to grow more than ever before alongside Oracle. So can you speak to that a little bit? In what countries have we been able to scale? How have we been able to grow? And why is this beneficial, again, to our customers?
Yeah, so this is what's really interesting. Global growth, there's two angles to global growth that I want to point out, and particularly for us as a cloud company, a SaaS company. There's two big things on global growth. There's the distribution side of things, being able to go into a country and distribute your product, be able to sell your product, so that's one aspect of global growth. The other aspect of global growth is the actual delivery of our product, meaning because we are a SaaS product, and having data centers and having all the resources to support a given country or a given region. And, that's expensive. That's really, it's hard to go into those countries if you don't have, you have to go and invest a bunch of resources. Well, the benefit of Oracle is they've enabled us to really drive into countries like India, Brazil, China, France, Germany, all of these countries that we've been able to build up, over the last 5 years. We've been able to invest on not just the distribution side by putting in salespeople or working with partners in those regions, but also on the data center side. Oracle's doing a huge amount of investment on their data center on the infrastructure side, and we NetSuite don't have to invest in that. So if you look at us as an independent company, I think this is a really important point, Kendall. As an independent company, we had to invest in all these data centers as well as our own product development. Well, now we basically get the infrastructure for free because what we're doing is, Oracle's putting a ton of investment. If you listen to the last earnings call, in fact, Safra talked about how much more she was investing in the infrastructure and how much she wanted to continue on growth for OCI, Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. And we basically get to take advantage of that. We don't have to invest in all that. Meanwhile, we get to take those same resources and invest it into product development, into distribution, into things and those other things, while Oracle continues to invest in all that infrastructure. So for our customers, they get the benefit of that world-class infrastructure and all those resources toward product development and servicing the product and everything else that goes with it.
Well, and what I love about that, it's Oracle's doing for us what we're doing for our customers, right? Like they're allowing us to really develop our product and not think about the rest, just like we're helping our customers. We've got everything handled for you on the back end. Just you go and you do your job, right? Like you go and you do what you're great at. And I think that's what's an interesting kind of dynamic here is it's like we're leveraging Oracle to grow, just like our customers are leveraging NetSuite to grow. So I think that's an interesting kind of connection there.
That's a perfect way to think about it, Kendall.
So what you mentioned, obviously we are investing in product development more than ever before, and we continue to, with each new release and every year. But like, what sort of product development have we been able to roll out over the past 5 years? Like looking back, what are some really cool things we've been able to do thanks to the backing of Oracle?
It's been we often talk about sweetness. I don't know if you've heard that in some of your previous conversations, Kendall, and we've been able to really invest in sweetness. I think one of the things, and I always reinforce this, and I talk about this a lot, is or NetSuite does 2 major releases every year. And we've been consistently like clockwork. Every year we have those 2 major releases. With new functionality, new features. But, one of the things that's unique about NetSuite that a lot of people don't, when you look at the market, all of our customers are running on the same version of the product. So right now we're in the middle of 2021. We have our 26,000 customers running on 2021.1 right now. And when a lot of companies talk about their customer base, they talk about, how many customers they have and all this, they have multiple products, they have multiple versions, they have all of that. All of NetSuite's customers are on 2021.1. Some point later this year, they'll all be on 2021.2. And, they're going to be able to take advantage. There's no like, oh, well, you're on an old release, you don't get to take advantage of that. So one of the things is we've been continuing to invest in that and deliver every 6 months our new releases. That's number one. We've been able to deliver new products. So, our investment in planning and budgeting, into HR with Suite People, with warehouse management, WMS, we've continued to have some enhancements on those things. For our software companies, continued investments around revenue management, around revenue recognition. And then just even on the core product side as well, the core of NetSuite, one of the foundational elements of NetSuite is really the financials. And that's been an area that we've been able to continue to invest in, is the functionality and features within the financials aspect of NetSuite, and really focusing on that as the core. All about this again, around sweetness, where, companies are able to use NetSuite for more than just, say, the finance department, but use it to run their entire business. And that's been that's been part of our mantra for many years, and it continues. And we've been able to continue to invest in that, consistently every 6 months with our new releases, and then, the ongoing developments that continue to be put out there.
I mean, and it shows. We've continued to increase our customer base too, because of, new capabilities that reach different industries and new sizes of companies, right? We're at 26,000 plus now, baby. Let's go.
Absolutely. I mean, that's not a small feat either, Kendall, is that our base has expanded. So we often talk about, we've been able to go into more verticals, we've been able to go into more segments. But, the thing about NetSuite is we've been able to go and service very, very small companies. So, we've talked about, we often used to talk about companies that they started on NetSuite small and then they went IPO, they grew on NetSuite. That continues. We continue to, close customers. There might be a mom or pop shop, down the road that's two people and they start on NetSuite and they grow. And there's other companies that have grown and scaled on NetSuite. And right. This year, you probably noticed all the traffic in the IPO markets. There's a lot of companies going public. There's a lot of companies going public via SPAC. Well, guess what? A ton of those companies are on NetSuite. They're just in the last year alone, I want to say 76 companies have gone public on NetSuite. I mean, it's just they and many of those companies started on NetSuite very small and then have grown on NetSuite. And NetSuite, it's coming back to what you just said, which is NetSuite's allowed them to focus on what makes them good and makes them a great company, and then allowed them to continue to grow their company till they can go public in the markets, and then continue to grow as a public company as well.
Absolutely.
Does your business have trouble managing inventory, projects, or even getting paid on time? Don't let spreadsheets and QuickBooks hold you back. If you want to get your business to a better place, take action now and make the move to NetSuite. Stop paying for multiple systems that don't give you the information you need when you need it. Ditch the spreadsheets and all the old software you've outgrown. Now is the time to upgrade to NetSuite by Oracle, the world's #1 cloud business system. NetSuite gives you visibility and control over your financials, HR, inventory, e-commerce, and more. Everything you need, all in one place, instantaneously. Whether you're doing $1 million or hundreds of millions in revenue, save time and money with NetSuite.
Join the over 24,000 companies using NetSuite right now. Let NetSuite show you how they'll benefit your business with a free product tour at netsuite.com/business. Schedule your free product tour right now at netsuite.com/business. netsuite.com/business.
I also want to make sure I hit on this because you've mentioned it a couple times. Running on Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. First of all, can you just explain a little bit about that to our listeners and then why it's beneficial to both us and our customer base?
Sure, happy to. So, OCI is Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. That is the infrastructure part of the cloud offering from Oracle. So NetSuite is a cloud offering, but we're an app, we're an application. And we have to have a data center to run in. And, prior to acquisition, and even now, we have data centers that NetSuite built out and we manage and we operate in that. What Oracle Cloud Infrastructure is it's those data centers. It provides the base foundation that then us as an application provider can build our application into and run. And so what the benefit for us is, Oracle is really investing in OCI. They are trying to put a lot of their efforts into how people can, where they're building out multiple data centers, not just in the US, not just, in North America, but in Europe and in Asia and Latin America. Like they have very grand plans in terms of their data center expansion. And data centers are expensive. They require, there's a lot that goes into that. And so the benefit for us is Oracle's doing all that data center expansion, and they're putting in all the resources for it, all the hardware, all the other parts that go with that. They're taking care of all of that. And then we're just able to leverage it. So they go and open a new data center. We can go and carve out space in that data center and run NetSuite in there. And as they go and get new features in there, we can take advantage of it in the application and then, of course, roll those out to our customers. And again, the benefit for us is, and for our customers in particular, is Oracle, they're doing this not just for us, they're doing this for all of the greater Oracle. So if customers want to move their workloads to the cloud, just their broader database workloads, they can do that with OCI. And NetSuite's just one of those customers within OCI. There's many others as well. And Oracle announced customers like that, like Zoom, for example, that moved onto OCI to let as their infrastructure. Similarly, NetSuite, is able to leverage OCI. And I think we just recently hit a milestone, in fact, with over 1,000 of our customers provisioned into OCI. And, over time, you're going to see more and more of our customers into OCI as we move from our classic data centers into the OCI data centers.
That is a great kind of segue, which I wanted to speak to. We've talked a lot about how NetSuite is able to leverage Oracle and Oracle's resources, but is there anything else? Are there any other key benefits that we've missed that you want to point out that our customers have gained? I mean, that's a great point right there is, you can leverage OCI when you need it. And it's seamless, right? So any other benefits that we've missed or we haven't chatted about thus far that you would point out?
We talked all about the distribution side of things a little bit, and I'll just point that out, which is, we're able to invest into more account managers, into our sales reps. The benefit for the customers is it becomes a more higher touch type environment, and where there's more folks looking over those things. We're focused on making sure our customers are successful. So we've been able to invest in programs that, ensure our customer success. And those are, other things that have really gotten implemented, kind of taken off since being part of Oracle. It's just that there's been a number of those types of efforts and things that have kind of come to fruition where our customers have gained, they're gaining that consistency and they're gaining the features that are there, but they're also gaining more customer, their peers are also able to leverage NetSuite as well.
Right. I think one thing to go back onto that you mentioned earlier, and I think that is important about this kind of relationship we have with Oracle is that, you said earlier, people were worried about NetSuite, quote unquote, going away. That, after the acquisition, it would be, Oracle, not NetSuite. Can you speak to that? I mean, I came in 2 years after the acquisition and talked a lot about this on our first few podcasts, and as well as our first few interviews with customers and their thoughts and how they felt about it. Even Evan came on the podcast and talked a bit about, that's not going to happen. Just wait, in 5 years we'll hit X, X, Y, and Z growth, whatever it was. And I think it's interesting to speak to that now, because from what I've seen, and again, I came in 2 years after, we still operate as a kind of independent business unit under the Oracle umbrella. We're allowed to do what we do best and meet our customers' needs. But I'd love to hear from you, kind of your view on that.
That's absolutely correct, Kendall. We are operating, Oracle view is it's not kind of operating independently. We are operating independently, and we're out there. We're supporting our customers. We service our customers. We sell to our customers as NetSuite, and right. we operate differently. In terms of our hiring, in terms of our sales. So sales reps that are joining, they're joining NetSuite or they're joining Oracle, depending on where they're at. But we're definitely operating independently. And I see that continuing because there's a benefit for Oracle in how we operate. We're servicing a different part of the market. How we operate requires a different approach, and we're continuing down that path. And Oracle's continuing to support that because they see the benefits of keeping us independent, keeping us maintaining those things. Evan, obviously he's still running things. Almost 23 years later, he's still running things. He is, he's continuing to focus on the development, focus on the sales side, and he is, but he reports to Safra. So, we're part of Oracle. We have the responsibilities that come as being part of Oracle. But we're able to operate independently to be successful in the market. And, you continue to see that in the continued growth that we've had, and we'll continue to have. And I see that as as part of our value. And I see that as part of our differentiator.
For sure. So with that, how have our goals as a global business unit transformed over the past 5 years, especially, amid the pandemic? And how has Oracle supported that?
The biggest thing, the goals have been really focused always on the customer, really at the centerpiece. We often talk about customers being at the centerpiece. that's really continued, right? There's, our goals around, making sure that we're delighting our base or unlocking value or extending our reach. These are concepts where we're focused on, ultimately, we want our customers to be successful. If our customers are successful, we are successful. And Evan often talked about the North Star. Our mission is to make sure that entrepreneurs and founders and companies can be successful. We want to help them realize their vision. And if we're successful by helping them realize their vision, our goals, over the last 5 years has really been focused on that. How do we continue helping our customers be successful? And Oracle's been very supportive of that. They've helped us in investing in some of these things I mentioned, like customer success, into programs. I mean, some of the things like what we've done with ACS, for example, where we're helping our customers. They've told us they need additional resources in order to leverage the full power of NetSuite. And so, we've put in place programs to help them with that and to drive that. And so that, I think, is, they've been very supportive. They've continued to invest heavily into NetSuite. And as a result, our customers are able to be more successful. We've been able to gain more customers. And, ultimately, you even see it with, more and more of our customers being successful in the markets as well.
For sure. As we wrap up here, I want to look towards the future because, we've been looking at the past 5 years, how we've grown. There's obviously been a tremendous amount of change to the business environment over the past year and a half. So as we look ahead, we've dubbed this the new age of growth for good reason. There's a lot of innovation coming out of the past year and a half with everything that's happened. But, with our customers too, and the way that they've kind of transformed and changed the way they're doing things to look ahead for a brighter future. How do you see us and our customers continuing to grow as partners with Oracle? What's next?
The thing about this concept of new age of growth, and I think, we've used that term, and I think a big part of that, Kendall, as you look back at the last 18 months, yeah, it's been tough. It's been really tough. But, the one thing that's come out of it, there's been a lot of great lessons that we've learned. There's some things that we said, there's some things we shouldn't be doing. There's some things we should be doing more of. Those things they've really refocused things. And as we hit the second half of this year, I see, there's a level of growth that we haven't had in decades. And, I see us, being able to, I see the growth path for us and for our customers as a big part of that. We're going to be working with our customers on how do they solve the really big issues. It's funny. We continue to have these conversations about supply chain, for example, and in the last 2 years, there's been so many conversations about supply chain, whether it was around tariffs or whether it was the pandemic itself, and then you had the Suez Canal, and you have these continuing things. But that's just one example where we are going to be working with our customers to figure out and help them to get past that, to design and figure out what's going to work to be able to come out of that and to be able to take their unfair share of that growth that we have coming. And that's what's really exciting for us. As we work with our customers in this new age of growth, I see continued shared success with us and our customers.
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, I'm hearing more than ever from our customers. It's no longer like, how do we prepare for, anything like this that ever happens again in the future? What I'm hearing is there's so much opportunity for growth, opportunity that we haven't seen since like the 1960s. Right. And so how do we prepare for the positive? How do we prepare for that substantial growth? And I think it's amazing to see customers, this is just on the top of my head, but customers like Soap Standal, they make little plastic kind of, it's exactly as it sounds, stands for soap, so that your bar soap, doesn't go to waste, doesn't create that goop in the shower that we all hate, and allows you to grip it easier. Also, it helps you prevent from using, liquid soaps, which, as we know, single-use plastics are at least in California, are banned in California. So there's so much to that story, but they saw tremendous growth from 2020 through 2021. I mean, they doubled. I think on Amazon alone, they doubled revenue. So I think it's interesting to see the companies that are coming out of this. Like, we saw substantial growth, and we need a partner that can grow with us, who's backed by, a big company that allows them to grow with us. Right.
Absolutely. And I think, for me, the future looks very bright for NetSuite within Oracle. They continue to talk about it as one of the key applications as part of Oracle's future. And I think, our customers can really look at Oracle as a partner on that, and what they're investing in terms of a company itself on the database, with autonomous database and with OCI and all the other things that Oracle's doing. And then we're able to take advantage of those things. It really is a great partner for us and for our customers, moving forward.
For sure. Well, Ranga, it went by quick. That means we were having a good time, right?
Of course.
We're already to the end here. But I really appreciate you coming on with us. I know we'll have you on again soon. We've got a lot of exciting stuff coming up here in the future. We're releasing 2021.2 here. Hey, everyone tuning in, there will be a podcast around that. So make sure you tune into that. And then we have Sweet World and lots of other cool things, Ranga. So I know you'll be on to chat about some of those, and just appreciate you taking the time to discuss the 5-year anniversary with Oracle.
Absolutely. Thanks, Kendall.
Thank you so much to Ranga Bodla for joining us on this episode of the NetSuite podcast. And yes, we are so excited to take on this new age of growth right alongside all of you. I also want to shout out to our editing crew over at Lampstand, and all of you, as always, for tuning in. Hey, if you like what you heard, don't forget, subscribe, rate, and review. Chat with you next time.
You just listened to the NetSuite Podcast. Be sure to tune in every week with more NetSuite developments, stories, and insights into the benefits of one integrated system to help you run your business.